Alright, hi, this is the Bitmage. Welcome to SAS X5. Today, you do sort of know the idea of personal computers, but I like to expand it in a general manner to the idea of personal computing. Uh, so, uh, I think personal computers is quite an old term, 1990s, 80s. I don't know when exactly. If it started with a Mac or a Windows, I'm too young to actually know the complete history for that. And in these SASs, I don't do quite I don't quite do some research. So the idea of personal computing, I'm gonna start expanding on it right away. This is it's going away from limiting your idea of a computer from just a device to more of an ecosystem. So around you, you do have systems, a lot of systems, laptops, wearables, tech, a lot of wearable tech, your phones, the cloud. I mean, it's quite funny. Whenever you say the cloud, uh, everyone sees up above, but mostly a data center is actually probably below you in terms of altitude. Whenever, yeah, probably there's a high chance that the data set that you're currently interacting with the services that you're using is probably beneath you. Yeah, altitude wise. So it's quite funny how the name cloud came to be. I mean, yes, that's I wonder what the etymology for that was. Cloud computing. It's funny, yeah. But yeah, so personal computing is when you start expanding uh, your idea of your idea of how computation dedicated to you is spread out over all of these systems around you. So rather than just thinking of your own laptop as your personal computer, you could start thinking of your your collective collective sources, collective devices as your ecosystem of computing. Now, okay, so the next stage of thinking about this is having everything interconnected with let's say, yeah, a lot of ecosystems already do this. Your phone's connected with your laptop. You can drop files here and there. You can share stuff in between them. That's fine. You could probably start using some software as a service where you sort of offload all of your computation. You let's say you probably use Notion. You sort of, I don't know, uh, probably use Google Sheets, collaborate over Docs or something. If you have a team, you probably have a workspace. You offload all of your maintenance stuff, your infrastructure, to the cloud. Yeah, the cloud somewhere. You do that, but so you're not in control of where your data actually is, or yeah, what's happening to it, how it is being interacted with, what do you want to do with your data, the format that it is stored in. So this idea of personal computing in the modern era, from a more engineering perspective rather than a more convenience perspective, revolves around the idea of knowing your infra, uh, doing it the open source way, and yeah, just being creative and flexible with it. So a lot of people might just start out with a home lab. I have a small Chrome box out here. I'm running FreeBSD on it. I do host some services on it. But yeah, then there's a VPS. You probably start getting into a VPS. You probably host some services. You self-host a whole bunch of things. So r/self-host, that subreddit is probably where you hang out. You understand a lot of SaaSes, software as a services, that you use. You could just be self-hosted and much better alternative. So managing your own data, that personal data sovereignty is something that you go after. That's the next stage of computing. in terms of thinking of your ecosystems, then yeah, I mean, you're not just a convenient user of airdropping files here and there, or I don't know, just properly managing your data or stuff, or being in touch with all the tech around you. That's quite way behind now. You're sort of an evolved user. And then comes in the idea of building your own compute, the building your own knowledge systems, building your own pipelines. A lot of automation tooling today do that. There's Anatin, there's active pieces. I've also been looking at some studio. You could be writing your own Python scripts. Yeah, that's also nice. That is quite powerful as well. You could write connectors. So if you don't relate to these names, you probably definitely know Zapier or Zapier. I'm not sure how do you say it. It's a single P, so I'm guessing it's Zapier. But then etymologically, Zapier makes more sense. Because like Zap, right? But yeah, let's say Zapier. You probably know Zapier. So that's the next stage of doing things. You start connecting. You start better connecting these different toolings that you use. A mail might trigger a particular research spree on Perplexity or something. Yeah, something like that. Or yeah, you might handle your calendar leads in a particular way, scheduling your day a particular way. All of that automation, fine. So the idea of personal computing that I want to talk about here is sort of more an unstructured way of dealing with your own mind, to give it structure, to extend your capabilities beyond your tooling and beyond what's in your head. So the quickest way to sort of do that, the most obvious way people do that today, is using a second brain. They'll probably call it a digital Zettelkasten. If you've read the book How to Take Smart Notes by Arens, or okay, I probably butchering the name, so I'm probably butchering the name. How to Take Smart Notes. That's the book's name. So if you read that book, yeah, the idea of the second brain, or a digital Zettelkasten, a gardener. You could have different mindsets how you sort of approach the way you handle these nodes. You could be sort of a gardener mindset. You let them grow wild. You let them cultivate. You could be a surgeon. You could I don't know. You could treat them as a bonsai. You prune off stuff regularly, or you could let them grow out as grape points. So it all evolves from your own mindset. But let's say if you start getting deeper into the full stack of computer science, which is what I do on the Bitmage, by the way. I'm also sort of a generic engineer, so I do have my hands deep into everything. So yeah, if you do sort of start getting deeper into engineering, not just compute, your networking, your storage, and your interfaces, you sort of start thinking in a more generic manner. So all of these systems around you, you could start thinking of different ways of interfacing with them. So first of all, you run towards efficiency for existing systems. So the most obvious way to do that is, let's say, I don't know, learn touch typing, ditch the mouse, that sort of stuff, speed reading, all of that stuff. So you level up your I/O. So I/O, input output operations per second. Yeah, you level up your IOPS, your cognitive IOPS, input output capabilities, rates per second. If you sort of get into speed reading, or if you interact very quickly with the computer, you don't use the mouse, you sort of move around, let's say like a how yeah, if you use WEM key bindings to move around. To sort of the generic person who is not into computing, just Google what's touch typing and get into speed reading, and and I'd probably also Google why Vim enables you to write or type at the speed of thought. So all of those should sort of help you out. So you sort of start doing that. Once you get into those, something interesting happens. The idea of your personal computing ecosystem sort of changes. So a lot of nice ideas start trying to come in. I mean, so one example of that might be, let's say I've been thinking of buying an eye tracker, and to push this idea of computing in in a more natural manner. So rather than just adapting natural language to be conveyed as text, the first step could be immediately like you just interact with your voice. And these days it's very easy not to have to type a lot because of agentic AI and stuff. So even when programming, you could be pair programming with an AI. You could of course describe technicalities in an extremely jargon heavy manner, and the LLM or the model or the AI will understand it. So it's not a big deal these days. I've been using Ada for a while, Ada Max in Emacs, and it's working great. So voice control over there, I just walk around. I do have a standing desk, so I just walk around and I talk to the pair programmer, and it's been fun. So that's sort of the next step. Then I don't know, you could get an eye tracker. You could probably scroll around with your eyes. You could do gestures, that sort of stuff. That's how you evolve stuff. There's one more level to it. And it's sort of a psychological shift. It's sort of a psychological shift. Okay, if you're sort of into system design, or if you do any sort of software and hardware, or like in general computer architecture, not at the processor microprocessor level, but in general just architecting systems on the whole, you could sort of build a scaffolding of compute, networking and storage around you, revolving around your thoughts, your mind. So how I have sort of personally been doing that is that could sort of form a very good personal project. So this is one of my side projects right now. All of this content that I create, so take it from a content creator's perspective, how do I pass all of this? How do I automate, or how do I ease out the process of indexing this? So indexing all of the logs, the journals, the entries, the videos is sort of a difficult problem if you're a regular vlogger or logger in the original sense. Logger in the sense that you think deeply and you log about the minute details. If you do that, the idea of indexing is very important to you, because linearly searching everything whenever you need to use it is very difficult. It's a hard problem. So to be able to index into exactly where you want to get that particular information, or whatever it is, it's important. So that's where the idea of your personal data lake might come in. You probably get, I don't know, I think yeah, personal data lake might come in. You already have experienced this in some way for photos. A lot of you might have a dump for your photo somewhere, and you could index into a photo based on a caption. So how that works underneath, I am not going to get into that because I have a general audience out here. Probably could do that on the Bitmage, but yeah. So that idea of making it convenient to index all of your data sort of is the next step to, now that you have an ecosystem to collect all of your data, what you do with it, that becomes sort of important. So how am I doing that for text? First of all, I sort of like text. I like text a lot compared to, say, videos or photos. Yeah. I mean, the way I communicate out here, these rambles, these speeches, these monologues, they can also be transcripted easily into text, and with great accuracy these days, with great accuracy. So that's nice. Text is sort of a very nice uniform representation of a lot of media out there. Photos I sort of don't like. I mean, a picture might say a lot more than 1,000 words, but then I want precision. I mean, if I can do it with 10 words, why do I want 1,000 words? So, so, uh, yeah, I mean, there's a picture probably also yields itself to be overinterpreted or misinterpreted at the worst, or just convey something too vague. Uh, but then if you cannot sort of convey it in a set amount of words, let's say uh, half a minute or a minute, you probably, an overview at least, you probably should work better on your own understanding of it rather than conveying it with pictures. Rather than that being your first option, try building up the context more. So yeah, I think that's a better approach than just showing a picture. Yes. So text is sort of a very unifying theme of all of data when it comes to computing. Voice can be text. Videos can also be captioned into descriptions. Images can, of course, can be captioned into text, but then you probably will not be able to represent abstract text with videos with great accuracy. So how text yields itself for representation with semiotics, with symbolic algebra, with symbols, is sort of very natural to us. Language in general. So symbols, text is ultimately collection of symbols, that patterns, collection and patterns, permutations of symbols that we are very used to. So this S of the SAS that you see, that in itself is an image. I mean, yeah, it's pixels. So if you see it out of context, it could look off, but then symbolically you carry the context with you, that it is an S. We are talking in English, we are talking in the Roman script, and that is an S. We are talking about serendipity as a service. So all that context that you carry make symbols a very convenient way of communicating information very quickly. So a picture might convey more to a baby because they do not carry the context. But then, yeah, because humans, adults, carry a lot of context with them. So that A, that X, we already know what that is. We've spent years with them. That's why conveying stuff with symbols is sort of much quicker. So text is sort of helps you to use what you already know, what you already used to. That's why I like text. The more you use it, the more you get better with it. The more you get better at thinking with it. So yeah, your inner voice probably also. You do not think in videos. You sub-vocalize. So that's a mixture of text and audio. I probably cannot reason without having words in my own mind. So words in themselves, patterns of symbols, is very primal and very natural to the way we think. Even I don't know what happens to people. I think yeah. Okay. Symbols. So when I say text, even people who are visually challenged, they do have braille. So they have their own set and patterns of symbols. People who are who cannot hear stuff, they have their own visual set of symbols, visual patterns of symbols via sign language. So it's patterns of symbols which carry the context. Your symbols, your rooted symbols need to be loaded to convey information very quickly. So it's all about symbols rather than relying on pictures. Pictures are very raw, they're very primal. End of the day, they're also relying on symbols. But yeah, a picture in itself can very easily be misinterpreted. So symbols are where it's at. Uh, Symbolic manipulation of your thoughts is a sort of is sort of the name of the game. All right, so text. So now we get to the idea of personal computing. Uh, Once you sort of go past all of these stages, you sort of understand the opportunities that are in front of you if you sort of try understanding and indexing your own mind better. So we're out here to engineer cognitive infrastructure, and what this idea of personal computing is about is not about doing some external task better or orchestrating your tasks, or I don't know, just storing knowledge in a knowledge graph. Even that is just a very primitive application of what computing can do for your brain. To really extend your capabilities, indexing is sort of a very nice start. So indexing all that you do, all the content that you have, is a sort of a very nice start. Interfacing with all of the information pretty quickly, touch typing or speed reading or your voice or say eye trackers, or how you use stuff, or how you orchestrate your tasks. How I mean, I don't know, if you're an agentic AI swarm user or an automation guy, how you do that. That is sort of a more evolved way of doing things. And yeah, finally, to build this by yourself without relying on SaaS softwares as services, to do it on your own infra, to sort of understand what is actually happening in the back. Let's say if you build your own rag store, or let's say a vector store, so to the general audience, it's an index. It's a quick index into all your thoughts, all your contents. Let's say I break down my transcript into pieces, and I add tags, semantically unique tags to all of those chunks. So when I want to say ask a query, I could use that tag. It's a sort of a hash map. A rag store is sort of a hash map in a large vector space. So using that, I could quickly index into my thoughts where I exactly want to go, and it sort of would help me understand how my thoughts are structured out. And if I do have more metadata, in the sense that when that tag arose as to what point in time, or when that piece of content was posted, I could track my evolution of thoughts over time. So rather than just thinking of using data from external sources, let's say, like external generic data, try to model your own mind in terms of sources and sinks of data, the behaviors that you would like to offload to a computer. So for me personally, it would be around, I generate a whole bunch of these videos daily. I do sort of a SaaS, so a serendipity as a service is out there. I can actually very easily get the transcript for this. YouTube has good APIs for that. It does that for you. You get the transcript. You could use an LLM to create summaries. You could do that. You could create summaries. You could create tags. You generate a whole bunch of metadata. You index that into a database. I have my own VPS where I'm hosting Supabase, so it's like an open source Firebase alternative. There I've got Postgres. So once you start indexing that, first of all, you design your own schema as to how you want a chunk of thought to be represented. You do that, You have good quality metadata. Once you start collecting this, you could start storing embeddings for that. Embeddings in the sense, the hash map that I talked about, the rack store, the hash map that I talked about, tags for that. Once you do that, once you have a collection of this sort of a micro personal data lake of sorts, it could help you start indexing pretty quickly into whatever you want to. Uh, B, it could help you out with understanding your own evolution better over time. Uh, and yeah, this this in itself sort of puts you a league above the normal human who is limited to their present state and is limited to thinking that their compute is sort of limited to their own body. So this idea of symbols is very powerful. This idea of symbols is very powerful. Delegating triggers outside visually in an auditory manner, physically, is something you should try looking into actively to understand this idea of semiotics. Now, now, okay. So all of these computing. What exactly is the nature of computing? Is again a very interesting thing. Uh, to have triggers, have clocks, to have stuff that happens on its own. You could be very creative with it. You do not need to. Okay, now the final stage. Now is the final stage. You do not see computers being limited to a sort of physical laptop or a phone or I don't know, a sort of a variable. You see everything as programs. So you got your inputs, you got your ways to trigger your inputs or whatever. You got your different patterns of processors. Could be there's a whole bunch of patterns of how stuff happens. There could be a controller loop, could be an orchestrator, could be sort of a regular periodic frequency of stuff happening, and then there is an output. This outputs could be sort of a very different nature. So I don't know. It could be a different sort of warmth that you feel when the sun arises again. So yeah, the input being the rays on your skin, and the warmth that you feel being sort of the result of that. So it's all matrix level stuff. You start seeing programs in and around you. You start seeing behaviors, and if you try modeling these behaviors with different domains, let's say there's a very strong domain of probabilistic computing, which there's this chaos engineering, there's this chaos theory. If you try incorporating all of these factors slowly with laws of physics in, you start to build an idea of a global computer that is interacting with itself. So the act of me speaking right now, I do not know where that insight arises from exactly. I do not know the nature of the mind completely. Probably neuroscience is something that I should explore with depth, with more depth than I currently am used to. But yeah, the idea of seeing everything around you as a transformation, as a transform, as a function that takes something, does something to it, there may be some effects of that, and that produces an output, which can either be, say, a terminal output, or there could be consequences to it, there could be feedback loops. So yeah, systems thinking is again a different way of seeing it. But yeah, all of these transforms around you. The movie Matrix saw it as programs interacting with programs, and yeah, that sort of stuff. To really understand its true power, you have to get into symbolic algebra or symbolic computing, or just semiotics to understand inputs outputs in terms of symbols. uh, for a moment, I'm going to talk with the technical guys out there. If you're into programming language theory, symbols as first class citizens allows you to sort of convey anything: speech, video, audio, any sort of thought that you can think of is symbolic in nature. Any Yeah, anything out there is symbolic in nature. So if a symbol is a first class citizen for you, the act of doing something, the way you interpret it, that is also sort of symbolic. Let's say a function is also symbol. So application of symbols on symbols, merging symbols, combinations of symbols, how you interpret that sort of symbolic stuff. Yeah, if that is a first class citizen in your model of understanding these transforms around you, symbolic transformations around you, you are walking around with a very intricate you are walking around with a very intricate interpretation of the world as a collection, as a set of transformations. And by the way, a transformation itself is a symbol, so you could transform transformations as well. Yeah, it's endless. It's Of course, there's a powerful idea of recursion that comes into play. So recursive in terms of composition and behavior. So composition, so structure and behavior also have symbolic interpretations. So yeah, you could yeah, I don't know, you could transform behaviors, you could transform structures. The whole bunch of type theory, typing the world around you, understanding abstract types around you. Yeah. Yeah, it's all so when I say personal computing, it's more of trying to fit all of these abstract domains to the world around you. I mean, you of course, if you're sort of an engineer or a scientific person, by scientific person I mean I don't know, man or woman of science. Yeah, you definitely probably have some time hung out around some meme pages around that. You do occasionally see the donut and a cup being topologically equal meme. Uh, yeah. Uh, so take that a level above. Why just have fun with it? I mean, of course, memes and all are good, but then why just have fun with it? Uh, what when it really clicked for me is when I got into symbolic algebra, symbolic computation, and that was mostly because of Lisp. So if you see the logo of the bitmage, it's a call to a symbol, bitmage. If you see the tagline on the website out there, it's some Lisp. It's some Lisp. Yeah, I haven't explained it publicly anywhere. So let ChatGPT do its thing, and let's see what people interpret it as. But yeah, symbolic computation, symbolic algebra, symbolic interpretation, semiotics. Having that as your primary domain, having that as your primal frame of seeing things is sort of very powerful. And yeah, that is what I wanted to leave with you today. I wanted to take you from a very superficial idea of computing, your variables, your tech, your laptops around you, to sort of this seeing the world as the matrix. I've got a matrix poster out here. So yeah, I mean, yeah, you could see it as programs, transformations, functions, depending on whatever sort of domain that you come in from. But then it's just different language. It's all different language. Yeah, that was SAS X5. I had fun doing this. I experienced serendipity myself. I did not know it was going to end on this note. I just started out with something raw, I just had a crude idea of where I was going. But yeah, it ended well. So feel nice about this. Thanks for tuning in. This is the Bit Beach, the founder of Conware Industries. So do check out both the websites. There's Conware out here, there's Bitmage out here, and yeah, I do technical stuff on the Bitmage. I do techno philosophical rambles on the Conware. Today was a little more than technical, but then I need to redefine. We need to sort of redefine what's technical and what's I don't know what's probably computer science should be common knowledge in the coming ages to really understand cognition better, to really convey thoughts better. Yeah, having a good knowledge of software, hardware, technical sciences in general probably is necessary for humans to just live a better life. Uh, yeah, I think that's it for today. That's more than enough for today. I had fun. I hope you had fun too. Uh, yeah, do share, subscribe, like if you sort of enjoyed this. I have summaries. I have indices of the transcript into the transcript in the accompanying blogs. They're in the description, and yeah. So my personal project is mostly on the indexing grounds. I do have it underway, so I'll update you guys. I'll update you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, see you in the next one.